I try to guard my heart as much as I can, but she holds my heart in her little hands. And I love her with all my heart.
This is breaking news from News Channel 11.
Tonight, emergency crews from around Hawkins County have converged on this rural community near Church Hill. They're looking for 4-year-old Summer Wells. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said she was last seen walking from her home on Ben Hill Road off Beach Creek Road, not far from here, around 7 tonight. She was last seen wearing a pink shirt and grey shorts. First responders are searching on the ground. THP and medical helicopters are in the air. We're told a command post has been established, and we're at a Baptist church on Beach Creek Road, where we're told information will be released as soon as it's available.
Still got her arm up? No. Oh, that's what I was trying to get at.
From what my wife has told me and stuff, you know, her and her mother and Summer were planting flowers.
We went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma. And she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch. And I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer. I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back, and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
Where the main house is, Candace's mother also lives on the property in a trailer. It's kind of like a camper trailer that you pull, I believe. And that camper trailer is probably about 30, 40 foot from the main house. It's separated by a driveway. They had been swimming earlier that day, and they got home and they were planting flowers. And Summer wanted to go inside her house and play. So Candace watched Summer walk from the camper into the front door. A few minutes later, I think so maybe like 20 minutes later, she came in looking for Summer, and the boys told Candace that Summer was down in the basement. Candace went down there, and Summer was gone.
She went out the basement door. The door was unlocked.
Did they tell you if the basement door was open or closed or locked or?
They told me it was locked, and the children even told me that it was locked.
So we'd get on them a lot, and so you can't do that, but it just, you know, we'd always find it open a lot of times and stuff.
But she's never left there. She might be on the other side of the house, because I went out there before and called for her. She come out from behind the house because she just has to be outside. She's an outside type of person, you know. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall. Because a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? You know, go get Summer now." You know, and that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person.
The Wells family lives across the street from a neighboring property. On mirroring mountains, together they can be described as sentinels which sit high over Ben Hill Road. The night Summer went missing, the neighbor swears that she and her two children heard a scream shortly before they joined the search for a now missing Summer Wells.
So somewhere between 4:30 and 4:42, the children and I were sitting there being pretty loud, laughing. When I say loud, we're pretty loud. However, the cabin was quiet, TV running, no air, no fans, and this scream happens. And what I thought was, okay, well, we heard the truck, or a car door, right? The one. And even though by this point, the woodcutters have been gone for hours, should not have been there, in my head, trying to dismiss this, I was like, okay, so one of Candace's dogs has gotten too close to where woodcutter was, and they've kicked it. But I knew the sound was wrong for a dog. And I knew it didn't make sense because there'd be no reason there'd be a straggler in there that long. I've heard every noise you can imagine out of those three. And they go down further than Summer, and they do ride their dirt bikes back and forth and things like that. And they go in places that Summer really doesn't. But this wasn't their noises. But that's what hit me, right? Was, that's not the boys, and that's what I said. And it never really occurred to me, Summer. And the reason is because Summer doesn't play down far enough to really hear. You hear sometimes when she's high on the bank, or, you know, one of the boys are picking, or she's picking, or she's, you know, but not a whole lot do you hear Summer. And this was a pretty quick series of events. It was a, you know, what is that? That's the kids. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. And she gets to the door first, and she goes, I can still hear it. It's one of the kids. And she was like, it's going, you know, it's muffled. Those were her exact words. That day, she was like, I can still hear it.
So whoever took her had to actually come up into the yard and take her. And I don't understand because, like, my neighbor heard her scream, but I didn't hear her scream because I was in the house with the boys trying to find her. And I guess when my neighbor heard her scream, I was actually in the house and the TV was going, so I didn't even hear the scream.
At one point near 6, and I believe on the phone at 6:09, I'm going around the top curve right away to start the descent down. cross over and I start into a spot that's kind of clear and head towards the creek, because I think, well, maybe brothers have left her behind, or she's fallen off the top of the hill, she's gotten hurt, or, the usual things, right? And we need to find her, if that's the case.
She was just gone into nowhere. And I started tracing the property, going everywhere I could. I sent my boys down through we live on the hill, so it was down by the creek. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. They still didn't find her? And they said no.
She was last seen outside of her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road, which is located in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. A family member reported her missing to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at approximately 6:30 Tuesday evening.
Oh, I freaked out. I called Don, because that's what I do automatically. I freak out,
You called Don?
I called Don. I said, I cannot find Summer. Come home now. He's like, call the cops. So I threw my phone down on the back of his pickup, ran over to my mom, picked up her phone, because the only one that gets out there is AT&T.
Okay.
So I picked up her phone, I dialed on one. I said, I cannot find my daughter.
My wife called me, and I said, hang up for me and call 911 right now. And I was at work, and I called 911, threw all my tools that I could in the vehicle, and from Jonesboro, I come out. I made it out here before anybody.
I wasn't just going to stand there and wait for them to send people out.
Right.
I jumped in my mom's truck, and I went down the driveway as fast as I could. I went everywhere I could possibly think, every road which way. I didn't see no cars. I didn't see nobody at all. And I was like flipping out. I was a hot mess, so you call it.
Okay.
So what time did you get there? Do you remember?
I thought it was 5:30, but the 911 call says 6:30, 6:26 is when the first call come in. And that could have well be. Sometimes I work till sunset,
You've been around from 110, 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek. Should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
I was taking pictures at my little girl's dance recital. It wasn't actually the recital, it was the practice for the dance recital, and we had a big backdrop, and I had my fancy camera, and I was getting pictures of all of her classmates, all of her the kids in the class, in the dance class, and I saw my phone bzz, 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 and it was Candace, and she was calling me on FaceTime, and of course I couldn't answer because I was taking pictures.
What time was it?
Well, dance class starts at 6, so it was probably around 6:30 or 7, I would imagine.
And I went down the hill by the creek in that little 4-wheel drive Subaru. I went straight down there to the creek, and I seen the boys down there, and they know not to travel alone. They was together, and I seen my neighbor walking around, and I knew my heart just sank right there. I just knew it, that somebody took her. She would never leave from up of around the house there. No way.
What about the boys? What were they doing when you saw them down there by the shed?
Well, they weren't by the shed. They was down they were... If you look down where the power lines are, you can see where the tree service has cleared all this out, all the way, both ways for power lines. Okay, all the way up to that house up there.
She called me maybe 5 times on FaceTime, and I didn't answer to any of them.
They were looking, walking around looking for Summer. I just knew she was gone.
I get a call from a friend of mine, David Dotson. I get a call from him, and he said, Candace has been trying to call you. And I said, I know, I saw it. I wasn't able to answer. What's up? He goes, Summer is missing. And I was like, oh my goodness. I think she interrupted that call, and she called me. And she got on my FaceTime screen. I've got my little girl in the back seat, and she's like freaking out on my screen there saying, Summer's gone, and I called the police, and I don't know what to do. And I said, Candace, I'll be right there. I'm coming. But I said, first I got to get my little girl home. So I think I got there around 9, and they wouldn't let us in. There was helicopters flying around everywhere. There was search dogs. There was police officers and lights, and it was just craziness. And at that moment, I realized, wow, this is a big deal. This is not just a small beans, we can't find her. This is huge.
We have now utilized 106 agencies spanning from Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina, assisting in these search efforts. Numerous specialized search and rescue groups with numerous canine teams have been represented from each of these agencies. We have covered over 4.6 square miles, with that being over 3,000 acres being searched since Tuesday night when she was reported missing. The rugged mountainous terrain continues to cause problems. This has slowed search operations down in these areas, but please be rest assured, while incurring these conditions, we are still searching with an aggressive approach with extreme attention to detail.
Every time a helicopter fucking stopped, every time it would fly the same fucking path and be targeted in, wondering if it was their fucking body, if it was evidence.
Although the area around Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community seems much quieter than what it did this time last month, authorities and search crews assure that people are still out looking for Summer Wells. David Rader is the director for EquiSearch Midwest, a volunteer-based nonprofit search group out of Texas and Ohio. Rader stresses the importance of the public not being involved in the search and not disclosing exact locations of search crews, not only because of safety due to the terrain, but also because it could hinder the investigation.
We can't have people stating that we were on this road at this specific spot, because then at that point in time when we mark it off that nothing's there, it's a possibility somebody could move her or evidence to that area. Something
echoed by the agents with the TBI leading the investigation.
There could be a criminal aspect and something happened to her. And in order for us to work that investigation, there are just some things that we're not able to share with the public.
Tonight, more than 5 months after an Amber Alert was issued for Hawkins County 5-year-old Summer Wells, teams were back in the Beach Creek community to resume their search efforts.
TBI posted these pictures you're seeing here on Twitter earlier today, showing that large-scale search with crews walking and flying above the area.
Crews from about a dozen agencies returned to Beach Creek to launch their second full-scale official search of the area immediately surrounding the Wells home on Ben Hill Road.
This time of year, after the frost and the leaves were off the trees, we could see better and do a more detailed search.
Authorities ask anyone in the Beach Creek area to continue to search their properties and to go over trail camera footage in case any evidence of Summer's whereabouts surfaces.
Today marks 6 months.
6 months
since Summer Wells went missing
from her home on Ben Hill Road in Hawkins County.
Now the tip count remains at 1,500. That means the TBI has gone through and checked every single one of those tips. Still none have panned out.
The case remains unsolved.
And the Amber Alert for her is still active.
Investigators have executed numerous search warrants, collecting all potential evidence. We've spoken with anyone and everyone associated with the Wells family, in some cases more than once. This includes neighbors, acquaintances, and those working in the area the day she disappeared. We've used a plane, helicopters, divers, canines, and every resource available to us during search efforts. Despite the countless hours of tireless work, the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. At this time, there is no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored, including foul play and the very real possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountainous and rough terrain surrounding her home.
Dogs had a pretty good trail, a track for a little while, but then it disappeared, but they lost scent when they come to the road. And sometimes canines, they will lose the scent when it changes different type, where they maybe went from the gravel to the pavement.
We don't know if someone was waiting in the basement or if she come outside here and went to the swing. All we know is she went down the basement.
Will says he believes someone was lurking at the top of a dog trail, just feet away from the basement door. He says the predator somehow managed to snatch Summer, then raced down the steep hill as she struggled.
I didn't know the dogs even had a trail down through here until the police dogs followed it all the way to the road.
Will says he overheard authorities say search dogs followed Summer's scent down the trail to the road before losing it. He painted a vivid picture of a kidnapping.
Whoever grabbed her probably had her mouth covered, and I think she was gasping for air by the time she got down through here somewhere, because our neighbor heard a scream, a really funny scream. I think they just carried her to a vehicle and threw her in there and took her somewhere far away from here.
many dogs do you have here on the property? About?
Honestly, I don't know because people just keep dropping them off.
Hi. I know. Okay.
I probably have seen maybe 5 or 6 dogs.
Did they bark at you when you went on the property?
We've taken the family food and everything, and we've gone to visit with them. And they'll as we're pulling up the drive, a couple of dogs will run up there, just kind of start barking and everything.
Last week, we told you the Department of Children's Services was involved in the Summer Wells investigation. Over the weekend, Summer's father, Don, confirmed on the J is for Justice podcast that their other children had been removed from the home.
The rumor is that they were taken out of the home. Were they taken from you guys?
Yeah.
Were they? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
A couple days ago.
He didn't sound hopeful. He sounded very depressed. And he confirmed that the boys were in fact taken a couple days prior.
They come at me and said I had somebody, either posing or said they had the inside scoop with CBI and that they knew that I sold my daughter for drugs. And I flipped out. I believed that stuff. Like an idiot. I believed it. Then I flipped out. I started drinking and everything else. That's why they took our kids.
Don Wells was initially arrested Saturday on several charges, including driving under the influence. While in court for hearing on those charges this morning, Wells was arrested for violation probation.
Following his arrest, Wells approached the podium. He told the judge he wasn't sure how he could keep up with the court expenses along with maintaining child support for his sons. At one point, he said the blood work from Saturday night's arrest would, quote, tell all, and added that he could possibly represent himself, but then he asked for a court-appointed attorney. He also mentioned that he had been doing some, quote, YouTube things to help try and find his daughter. He then told the judge that he was going through a lot of things and a lot of heartache and would, quote, plead mercy from the court. Boyd appointed Wells a public defender and reset this hearing until February 6th at 1 p.m. to await the blood results from his DUI arrest on Saturday.
New tonight at 5, Candace Bly, the mother of missing Rogersville 5-year-old Summer Wells, released a statement explaining her reasons for walking out during an appearance with Dr. Phil and the behavior panel.
Now, according to a statement from Bly just before the Wells family's appearance on the Dr. Phil show, she said she walked away from the interview with that behavioral panel hired by Dr. Phil for the segments after she believed that they became confrontational.
The Wells' recent trip to LA to film for Dr. Phil brought up a lot of pain from the months their daughter went missing.
Just brought up a lot of emotion, very emotional. We are alone. Well, it seems like alone when you ain't got your kids. You realize Summer is somewhere that she's probably doesn't want to be, probably locked up or being hurt in some way, and when we're there on that beautiful beach and our daughter is who knows where.
Have you ever encountered anything like this in your career?
To this magnitude, no. I've been through a lot in the last 44 years, seen a lot, investigated a lot. This is one of the top ones.
The magnitude also spreading to social media and content creation on YouTube, oftentimes allowing rumors to spread.
Majority of it's been a hindrance because a lot of the information that we get is the same information that we've went over time after time after time.
It seems like Don is really concerned about the public's perception of Candus coming off of the Dr. Phil interview.
In the first on-camera interview with Don Wells after that Dr. Phil appearance.
But then he did say something interesting about her friend. But I tried to drill in on that a little bit. Well, what do you mean? What friends are you talking about? What kind of friends did Candus have? What do you mean? And he sort of shut it down pretty quickly.
Anton also sat down with Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson.
I asked him, do you believe that Don and Candus are involved? And he said, we're not ruling anyone out at this point. People are digging for clues on their own, behind their computer screens at home. But the most interesting and different thing with this case that I don't think I've ever seen before is the way the family has been interacting with these social media sleuths and YouTubers.
I have to stay off the YouTube thing or be very careful about if I do anything on YouTube from now on because, I have lost control. I've done stupid things, and for that I apologize.
Right? Welcome. Good to see you.
Holy crap.
Is that one of the apostles?
long time. Do what I asked you to do, please.
Don, you knew better. You knew where you were, Don.
There's no more pleading with a dirty fucker like this from now on. There is no more pleading with someone like this. It's turned into a whole new game, and in my mind, all that pleading is over with. That no more.
Don, can I ask you a question?
I'm not pleading with some sorry son of a bitch like that.
Is the reason that you're not
Yeah,
going?
you can ask me a question.
Is the reason that you're not going to plead or haven't been is because you know Summer's not coming home?
No, I don't know nothing. I have 7 alibis.
What?
If not more. Baby, don't break my fucking door. Come on. Really?
Well, you were at work.
Come on. Don't break the fucking door.
Open it then.
You dumb.
Oh, you're going to call me a dumb.
You break my fucking door. You dumb. Here.
No,
I have 7 alibis. I have 7 alibis. Candace ain't got none. She's going down.
You were at work. Right?
Yep. Yep.
And they've always said you were at work.
Yep.
And then
Plus, I have a good friend named Starlink. My buddy named Starlink. And, yeah, Starlink.
It makes no sense. The only thing that can come to my mind is that somebody snuck up there in that yard and took my baby girl.
What are the odds of that?
What are the odds of that?
From your perspective?
It happens all the time, all the way around the world.
I'm not questioning that it happens. I'm just asking you from your perspective, in your property, living up there as long as you have, Candace, right? What are the odds that that happened? Take a guess.
50-50.
Me and Candace know for a fact that Summer was abducted.
Can you share with me why you know for a fact or how you know?
Well, the reason that I know is because I know my wife, and I know what kind of emotions and the heartbreak that she's been going through, and the way everything happened when she called me.
Have police given you any information on that or anything pointing to that?
No.
What would be the 50% that it didn't happen? What are the other possibilities?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could she have walked away and fallen?
Knowing my daughter?
Yeah.
No.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson says they have found no evidence Summer was abducted.
Why is it our property is any different than any other property where kids are abducted? Why? What makes them think, oh, there's no way an abduction can happen here, but everywhere else it's probable, but not this property?
When do you think would have been the moment somebody would have snatched her?
Either somebody was laying in wait in the basement or that dog trail there, because, you know, if you just have a little bit of camouflage on, you're not going to see them.
Right.
And so they could have snatched her quick.
What did your boys say?
They were glued to the TV. They weren't, and you can't say nothing to them. They're just in la la land.
Right.
They were all glued to the damn TV and their games on their phones, everything. So they, you know.
Were they playing any games?
Yeah, they were playing games, and they was on YouTube watching. I forget what that is. It's like a puzzle game where you build stuff on there. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but they loved watching that.
Oh, Minecraft?
Minecraft, yeah. You know, they love that.
I used to call it Minecraft.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, exactly.
And so, what did each of your sons tell you?
Well, one time me and Josie, he just started crying. I don't even remember what I said to him or what. And he says, "Dad, it's not my fault." You know, and he was crying. I said, "I know, son. I know it's not your fault. I'm sorry." Whatever. And I don't even remember what I said to him or what to make him cry. But I just remember him saying it's not my fault. You know, and I felt bad. But we ain't been the same. We ain't gonna be the same.
In my heart, I believe. Now, this is just the way I feel.
I respect that. Totally respect that.
I feel that somebody has got her hid out somewhere.
Okay.
And is keeping her away from us.
Help me understand why that's in your heart.
Okay, first off, I didn't know how many sex offenders lived around me that were only 8 minutes from my property.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Right.
And another, my daughter never goes out into the woods because we've taught her there's dangerous snakes, there's bears, there's pack of dogs, there's coyotes, there's everything magical out there in the woods that could hurt you.
Okay.
I've even taught my boys that.
Okay.
And I have never stressed that enough. I tell her that every day.
Right.
And she would never, ever go anywhere than that swing that's on that tree.
What about this call, allegedly, that Hunter says came in? Well, he said there was a call that Don made to you while you were in line at the prescription. Did that happen?
He called me and asked how everything was going.
Okay.
And how soon we were going to be home.
Okay. Hunter relates that he mentioned to you that Don had said something about somebody around the property. Is that true?
That is so bullshit.
Okay.
Sorry to say it, but that's a bunch of bullshit.
Okay. So why would Don, in your opinion, call Candus while you're in the line at Walgreens to say there's some dude on the property wanting to touch the kids? Help me understand that.
I mean, at first I thought because he calls her like every 2 hours because he works.
Okay.
I thought he was just doing his daily checkup.
Okay.
But then she told me about that. I was like, how does he even know that if he's supposedly working?
And what did she say?
I didn't say that. I was just saying in my mind.
And in your mind, what did you come to? What did you deduct?
Deduct? I thought that was just suspicious.
The next day she shows up where?
Here, does she not?
Well, so you were interviewed by TBI on Wednesday. She came here Thursday.
So 2 days after or a day after?
2 days after.
And then what happened when she got here?
She got here. She was like telling me how she talked to them and was like, don't mention about the alcohol, but I don't mention it.
Did she say what she told them?
No, but she started asking me. I just told them what happened on the timeline.
And what did she say?
She said, okay, that better be it. I said, you didn't even scare me.
Well, why would she try to scare you?
That's what I'm saying. Why was she trying to even ask questions about it? It's just how I am. It's just, if you're going to leave something on the table, and I know that you probably got something to hide because of the way you're acting.
Yep.
And the way you call me, of course I'm going to look through your phone.
Sure.
So she goes through her car, goes on the other side. I act like I'm grabbing my phone because they're just about the same.
Right, so you play it like...
So I put mine where hers was.
Got it.
And so I grabbed her phone. And see, I'm good with tech. I know where everything you can hide is. And so I went through her Google Photos, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay.
The gallery part.
Okay.
And so where you can delete things, they don't just delete, they go to your trash. I don't know if people know that or not, but they go to your trash.
Okay.
I know that because I mess around with tech every day.
Right. You need to go into IT, bro. Right there. Go ahead.
And so when I looked in there, I seen 13 messages between her and her I'm gonna say drug dealer because he is. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to name his name, but yeah, all I seen was the first message before she started walking up to the mailbox to get up here is that it was done, and I was gonna read the next message of what she said. And she just started running up here, and I had literally just slid my phone in my pocket and just put hers there. It's like, she asked me if I went through her phone. I said, no, why? Because I cleared it all out before she can get up here.
Did you tell TBI all this?
Yeah, I told her.
What do you think happened to Summer?
To be honest with you, her grandma was out of her mind. Like, you guys, them. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying they have to be in the camera.
Understand.
But I'm saying you can ask them that her mother's usually grumpy, controlling, like a regular grandma, like her. I'm not trying to be mean. But you know how grandmas can be, like grumpy, controlling, trying to run everything.
What do you think should happen to the person that did this to Summer?
Person that did this,
yeah,
they should be locked up for a very long time.
Why do you say that?
Because I was like, that's like my little sister.
What do you think should happen?
I have to leave it to God, you know, and I know what prison's like, and I have mercy for anybody who's in prison, because you're lucky if you get out of there alive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So would you want to see this person in prison?
I don't know if I could do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No,
it just depends on all the circumstances, you know.
What if it was an accident?
Well, you know, that's different, you know. And accidents happen, you know.
Right. And could this have been an accident?
I have no idea. I know if Candace, you know, had an accident or something, she'd call the authorities right away.
Right.
I know that. She's not devious like that. She's a good person.
You know, maybe she's dead and buried. Where did that come from?
Because the dream that I had, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I was at a construction site, but this was a commercial construction site. I haven't done commercial since I left Houston, but this had these real big steel studs in it, and the day was just, it was more beautiful than any day I've ever seen in my life. It was like perfect, and this building I in was beautiful, and I was working on it, and Summer was sitting there on the floor playing with her dolls or something, and she was dressed beautifully. I've never seen her so more beautiful, and it just, the dream was like heaven, I guess you could say. And I said, Summer, where were you? And she says, down the road, you know, and it was just like a perfect, beautiful dream, you know, that I can't explain.